morning, viewers. For all Eco Liberty viewers, and I'm Matthew Miller, your host. And it's the 20th of March 2015. And yes, it has been an interesting week this week as well. Boy, and it's good to see that sun as well, and especially after we had that storm on Sunday as well, boy, yeah, and yeah, it's time to actually get to it, but I'm gonna say that on Matthew, your host, you can actually visit ecolibertyblog.wordpress.com, and also you can go on to that header menu. It's got the Eco Liberty channel, and when you hover your cursor over it, actually there's a drop down, and it's got my broadcasts and my reports as well. It's just when I do go out and do some reporting as well. So now it's time to actually get to what the damage what Cyclone Plan had done throughout the Pacific. Yes, and Vanuatu was hit the hardest, and this one was from RT. And men running away from the highway caused by Cyclone Plan crashing along the coast of Vanuatu, capital of Port Bella. And yes, and the Gisborne residents were being told to get enough supply for at least 3 days. And yes, you can always be prepared for anything that comes. You should always get prepared before you see the storm. If you think it's not going to hit you, it's better to be prepared for anything. Yeah, it's a real big mess in Vanuatu. It's a real big mess. But as well, in Auckland and Northland, they probably should be expecting some power outages. And I was actually expecting some power outages where I'm living right now. But the problem is, we didn't actually get it. And yes, and the rain wasn't as heavy as I had thought it would be. I thought it would be plus, but as I drove around and see if there were any aftermaths, but looked like it. There weren't any much damage around in the Northland area. Oh well, it's probably thanks to John Key's geoengineering program. Otherwise, we all got that heavy rain. And also, I'll be talking about water today as well, the blue gold and the oncoming water wars. Because water is our precious resource. Oh, forgot to set the timer. Boy, I'm gonna do that. Duh. I've finally got it set now. Here I have to use my mobile phone because here both my iPad and my iPod don't really work anymore. Yeah, no, they're all Chinese made now, these days, because now it's also been 4 years since the tsunami over Japan, and which that led to the world's nuclear disaster as well, boy. And it's still going on. I was actually meant to say that on my last episode, but I actually didn't do that yet. And yes, they were hit by a tsunami around 11th of March 2011. And then you can guess it, the Fukushima nuclear power was actually in the path of it, so they actually got hurt. And the backup generator was actually got stuff when the basement got flooded from the tsunami. And yes, I have watched the documentary as well. And yes, this is very frightening though. If you saw, nuclear power plant, they are pretty dangerous, alright. And there are people have been saying it was probably the worst since the Chernobyl that occurred in April 1986. And now we actually got the Fukushima that had actually started going into meltdowns since after the tsunami, and it is still going on. 4 years, still going on. Drinking my coffee, got the hers here. He's had the hers car as well. Molly man here. Yeah, I ain't coffee man, what? Oh well, I was going to decide to go into it right now. In Americas to lose 1/3 of its fresh produce when California runs out of water. Yet they have been having droughts. And people been saying it's probably the weather have been controlled. They are perfectly doing it as well. I might be speaking on the expert of geoengineering as well, just to see if that's the case. Because yeah, they're saying it has been caused by geoengineering. They just spray a whole heap of particles in the air, and they're just to sort of disrupt the wet weather that's coming along to California. So they will actually go into a drought. Yeah, the California water supply headed for a collapse just in 1 year. And yes, they only got enough water just for 1 year. If they don't get enough rain, there'll be no water left for them. And the food prices will be skyrocketing because you gotta have water to grow your food. If you don't have water and, it's too dry, you're not gonna be able to grow your own food. And the next one is, and all those three other news that I had previously covered, they're all for national news. Water hoarding begins in Brazil as one of the world's largest cities run out of water. And yes, California is not the only one that's getting hit by the drought. Brazil also getting hit by one now. And yes, they're all hoarding for water as well. And yes, of course, water is our precious resource as well. And then we will die without it. And they say 40 million affected. Oh man, that's a lot. 40 million people affected. Whoo! And that's like about close to 10 times the population of New Zealand. Oh man. And yes, that's what it's like. If you saw stand on water restrictions as well because of droughts as well. And yes, we probably have experience here in Northland as well, here in New Zealand. Because yeah, and I talked to another person I know, they sort of thought it was going to be from geoengineering. And I have been seeing all those trails being sprayed in the sky and that, and they say, oh, it's probably there to stop the rain. And I'll probably, as I wait to find out, and it could be the case. Yes, it could be the case. So I must have find out how to control weather by either spraying clouds in the sky, which they used to call it cloud seeding. Mm. Yeah, no. It's just, see, just decided to run out of things to say right now, but man, on the next episode I'll be talking about the water, the blue gold, and I might see if I can get it on and see if I can actually talk about if California's drought's been caused by geoengineering. And yes, I'd like to have her on because she's probably an expert on geoengineering and see if that's really the case. Because yeah, California and also Brazil is getting affected as well, and places like Christchurch, and they're also being experienced by drought as well. Because I remember back in 2010 as well, when we had that drought. It was like probably about 16 years since. Yeah, it's been first time in 16 years that we had a drought. That's back in 2010. And there was another one back in probably around 2013 as well. Can't remember now. Oh, oh, that's probably the end of this segment. I'll see you on the next one. Over and out.